The conference room smells like burnt coffee and cheap carpet cleaner. I'm standing there while my brother talks over me, smiling, calm, rehearsed. He's explaining to the investors why my company failed, why I failed. My mother nods along like she's listening to a weather report. My father stares at his folded hands on the mahogany table. Someone asks why the contracts were altered without approval. My brother shrugs and says my name like it's an apology, like I'm the mistake that needs fixing. He sounds so reasonable, so calm, so practiced. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out with shaking hands. The bank has frozen my business account.
$62,000 locked.
No warning.
No explanation.
Just gone. I look up and realize no one in this room is going to defend me. Not one person. This is the moment everything I built collapses in public, and my own family watches it happen. My face burns. My ears ring like someone slapped both sides of my head at once. I try to speak and my voice cracks once, just once, and that's all it takes for the room to decide I'm unstable. My brother puts a hand on my shoulder like he's comforting a child throwing a tantrum. It feels like being buried alive politely. The investors exchange glances. One closes his folder. Another checks his phone. I realize I've already lost this room. Not because of facts. Because of perception. My brother has spent months building his version of the story, and I walked in thinking truth would be enough. I turn and walk out.
No dramatic exit.
No slammed door. Just quiet defeat. In the hallway, I throw up in a metal trash can and realize something horrible. My family chose him before I even opened my mouth. They decided weeks ago. Maybe months. This meeting was just a formality. That night, my mother calls. I almost don't answer. When I do, her voice is tight and rehearsed, like she's reading from a script someone else wrote. She says, "Claire, we need to talk about your behavior today. We are siding with your brother on this. You need to accept your part in what happened and move forward. Not are you okay? Not what's your side? Just judgment." That's when I understand the truth that will change everything. My family sided with my brother after he ruined my business. They never ask if he lied. They never ask to see the contracts, the emails, the timeline of decisions. They just choose the version that lets them sleep at night. The version where I'm difficult and he's the hero who tried to save me from myself. I hang up without saying goodbye. For the first time in my life, I don't try to fix it. My name is Claire Donovan. I'm 32 years old, and until 3 months ago, I owned a thriving marketing consultancy in Minneapolis. I'm a white American woman who built her company from a folding table in a shared office space, a laptop with a cracked screen, and 16-hour days that destroyed 2 relationships. I don't come from money. My parents are middle-class people who taught us that hard work matters and family comes first. I built my business on cold calls, rejected proposals, and learning every lesson the expensive way. For 6 years, I grew it slowly, carefully, sustainably. I was proud of what I created. It was mine. Until the day I made the mistake of letting my younger brother, Derek, join the team. Until that moment in the conference room, I thought my family knew who I was. I thought they understood my character. I was wrong about everything. Let me take you back 3 years. My business is finally profitable. Not rich, but steady. Real clients. Repeat contracts. A small team of 3 freelancers I trust. Then Derek loses his sales job at a tech startup. He shows up at my apartment on a Tuesday night with pizza and that charming smile that's always gotten him out of trouble. He says he wants to help me grow. He has connections. He understands scaling. He can bring in corporate clients I'd never reach alone. My parents call it a blessing. Family working together, my mother says. This is what we always wanted. I hesitate. Derek has always been the golden child, charismatic, confident, quick with words, but is also never finished anything he started. Still, I ignore the voice in my head. I bring him on as a business development consultant. Small salary. Commission-based. I think I'm being smart. I think I'm protecting myself. I'm not. 6 months in, we are at a family barbecue. Derek is holding court on the back deck, telling everyone about our company. He keeps saying we when he means I did. My aunt asks about a major client we landed. Before I can answer, Derek jumps in. Claire's great with the details, he says, laughing. But she gets too emotional for the big negotiations. That's where I come in. Everyone laughs. My father claps him on the back. My mother smiles like he just said something wise. I force a smile and take another bite of potato salad that tastes like sand. This is the first public crack in my authority, and my family allows it. They think it's brotherly teasing. They don't see what I see. He's rewriting the story of who built what. And they're letting him. I should have said something that day. I should have drawn a line. But I don't want to seem petty. I don't want to seem like the emotional one he's already painting me as. Behind the scenes, things start shifting in ways I don't notice at first. Derek begins promising timelines I never agreed to. He tells clients we can deliver campaigns in 3 weeks that actually take 6. When projects run late, he apologizes on my behalf. Claire's a perfectionist, he says, making it sound like a flaw. He schedules client calls during my other meetings, then reports back with his version of what was said. He positions himself as the fixer, the translator, the one who understands what clients really want. He creates a narrative where he's protecting clients from my overthinking, my slowness, my inability to scale. Meanwhile, I'm working 70-hour weeks trying to deliver on promises I never made. I start noticing small things wrong. Contracts with clauses I didn't write. Emails sent from our shared account that I never approved. When I ask about them, Derek says I'm micromanaging. You have to trust your team, he says. So I do. That's my second mistake. The collapse happens fast. 2 major clients pull their contracts in the same week, citing missed deadlines and miscommunication. I'm confused. I delivered everything on time. But when I check the files, the timelines don't match what I remember agreeing to. Someone changed the delivery dates in our system. My business bank account, which should have $50,000, shows $18,000. I call the bank. They say there were authorized transfers to a secondary consulting account I've never heard of. My hands shake as I check the paperwork. Derek's name is on the account as a cosigner. 3 more clients send termination emails. All of them reference things Derek promised that I knew nothing about. When I confront him, he's calm. Too calm. He says I've been overwhelmed, that he was trying to help, that maybe I'm not ready for this level of growth. He tells the family he tried to save the business. And they believe the version that requires the least discomfort. My parents call a family meeting at their house. I think it's to sort out the truth. I bring printed emails, bank statements, contract drafts showing the timeline of changes. I'm prepared to walk them through everything. Instead, I walk into an ambush. My father sits at the head of the dining table like a judge. My mother sits next to Derek, her hand on his arm. They don't ask to see my evidence. My father says, "Claire, we need to talk about your management style. Derek has expressed concerns about your emotional decision-making." I try to explain about the changed contracts. My mother interrupts. "Derek said you've been under a lot of stress. Maybe you don't remember things clearly." I lay out the bank transfers. Derek says he was trying to save operating costs, that I approved it verbally. "Did you?" My father asks me. My voice shakes. "No, I didn't." They look at me like I'm the one lying. They tell me to apologize to Derek for accusing him. To keep the peace. To be the bigger person. I refuse. That's when my mother says it. Then we're siding with him. The next week, I'm cut off. My mother stops answering my calls. My father sends a formal email saying they need space. Derek updates his LinkedIn, listing himself as co-founder of my company. Former clients congratulate him publicly. No one asks where I went. Family group chats go silent when I post. At Thanksgiving, I'm not invited. My aunt tells me privately it's because everyone thinks it's best to let things cool down. I'm framed as unstable, dramatic, unreliable. The difficult daughter who couldn't handle success. Derek takes meetings with my former clients. He tells people I had a breakdown, that he's continuing the work we started. My entire professional reputation is being rewritten, and my family is helping him do it. I grieve, but I do it quietly, because I realize something important. Defending myself emotionally will never work. They've already decided which story to believe. So I stop trying to convince them. I start building something else. Something they won't see coming. I spend 2 weeks in my apartment doing nothing but thinking. I could scream. I could fight. I could burn bridges and send angry emails and expose Derek publicly. But that's what they expect. That's the emotional Claire story they've already written. So I decide on something different. I decide to let time and truth speak for themselves. This is where revenge becomes strategy. I won't defend myself. I'll rebuild myself. I won't attack Derek. I'll let his own actions catch up to him. I'm not interested in looking right. I'm interested in being right. I make a list of every client relationship I built personally. Every connection that was mine before Derek touched it. I start reaching out, not to complain, not to explain, just to check in. I ask how their campaigns are going. I offer free advice. I'm professional, calm, helpful. Some ignore me, but some respond. And some say things like, "Actually, we've been having issues with the new setup." That's when I know his house of cards is already shaking. I just have to wait. I start consulting under a new name. Not a company. Just me. Claire Donovan, independent consultant. No flashy website.
No social media announcements.
No family involvement. I work with 2 small clients who remember me from before. I charge less. I deliver more. I document everything. Every email, every deliverable, every result. I build a reputation for reliability, one project at a time. It's slow. It's humbling. I'm starting over from scratch while my brother parades around in the business I built. But I'm also free. Free from his interference. Free from family expectations. Free from trying to prove myself to people who already decided not to believe me. Some nights, I cry. Some nights, I'm so angry I can't sleep. But every morning, I get up and do the work. I rebuild my name brick by brick, without drama, without announcements. Just results. And I wait for Derek's arrogance to do what arrogance always does. Destroy itself. Derek, meanwhile, is thriving. Or so it seems. He posts on LinkedIn constantly. Big wins. New clients. Growth metrics that sound impressive. He's interviewed for a local business podcast about scaling a family company into a regional powerhouse. He uses phrases like strategic pivoting and operational efficiency. He talks about taking risks. About innovation. He never mentions my name. It's like I never existed. My parents share every post. They're so proud. My mother comments with heart emojis. Derek cuts corners I never would have cut. He hires cheap freelancers and charges premium rates. He overpromises and underdelivers, then blames the vendors. He tells clients what they want to hear, not what's realistic. For 6 months, it works. Clients are dazzled by his confidence. His charm. His big promises. But arrogance plants seeds. And those seeds grow into consequences. I watch from a distance, saying nothing. Doing nothing. Just working. Just waiting. Just trusting that reality doesn't stay hidden forever. Then something shifts. A former client reaches out to me privately. Someone I worked with for 2 years before Derek arrived. Her name is Rachel, and she runs a non-profit. She says, "Claire, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Did you approve the timeline Derek promised us?" I pause. I could trash him. I could unload everything. But I don't. I answer calmly, professionally, factually. I say, "Rachel, I wasn't consulted on that timeline. What's going on?" She tells me the project is a disaster. Deadlines missed. Designs wrong. No communication. She's about to lose a major grant because the campaign isn't finished. I offer to help her directly. I don't charge. I just fix it. Within 2 weeks, her campaign is live. She's grateful. She tells another former client. Then another. Quietly, trust begins to shift. Not because I attacked Derek. Because I stayed consistent. Because I did what I always did. Delivered results. People start asking questions. Not accusations. Just questions. And I answer them with facts. That's the first power shift. It's small. But it's real. By month 10, my new consulting work is stable. I have 6 steady clients. I'm not rich, but I'm surviving. I could stop here. I could let Derek have the old company and move on with my life. I could let my family believe whatever they want. The audience thinks the story might end here. A quiet rebuild. A bittersweet new beginning. Then I get an email. It's from a vendor Derek hasn't paid. They're asking if I have contact information for him because he's ignoring their invoices. I don't respond. But I start checking public records, business filings, court documents. What I find makes my stomach drop. Derek registered the business under a slightly different name, one that removes me entirely from the legal ownership. He's been operating under a structure I never agreed to. It's not illegal. It's just slimy. And it's traceable. I take screenshots. I save everything. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. But I know this. The truth is coming. With or without me. I find the document by accident. I'm searching county business records for something else when I see it. An LLC filing from 8 months ago. The company name is close enough to my original business to confuse clients, but legally distinct. Derek is listed as the sole owner. The filing date is 2 weeks before the investors' meeting. 2 weeks before everything collapsed. Which means he planned this. He didn't just take advantage of a bad situation. He created the bad situation. He moved clients, changed contracts, and shifted assets into a company I had no legal claim to. Then he let me take the blame for the failure. I feel sick. But I also feel something else. Clarity. This isn't about family anymore. This is about fraud. Not the illegal kind. The perfectly legal, morally bankrupt kind. I print everything. I organize it in a folder. And then I do nothing. Because the best revenge isn't exposing someone. It's letting them expose themselves. And Derek is already doing that just fine. Around month 11, my parents start asking quiet questions. My mother calls. Not to apologize. Just to check in. She asks how I'm doing. If I'm still working. If I've thought about reaching out to Derek to mend things. I keep my answers short. Professional. Polite. I don't explain. I don't defend. I don't try to convince her of anything. When she asks if I've seen Derek's recent success, I say, I'm focused on my own work. When she hints that maybe I overreacted, I say, I need to go, Mom. I have a client call. Silence becomes my boundary. Not because I'm punishing her. Because I finally understand that some people will only believe what protects their comfort. My father sends a text, can we talk? I reply, when you're ready to ask questions instead of give conclusions, yes. He doesn't respond. That's fine. I'm not waiting for their approval anymore. I'm building a life that doesn't require it. Then comes the major twist. An external audit begins examining Derek's operation. Not because of me. Not because I reported anything. But because one of his corporate clients requires third-party audits for all vendor relationships. It's standard procedure. Routine compliance. Derek has no idea it's coming. The auditors request documentation, contracts, invoices, project records, communication logs. All the things Derek has been sloppy about. All the corners he's been cutting. I'm not involved. I don't even know it's happening until a former colleague mentions it casually over coffee. She says, "Did you hear Derek's company is getting audited?" I nearly drop my cup. I play it cool. I say, "No, I didn't." But inside, I'm screaming. Because I know what they're going to find. The altered timelines. The overcharges. The promises that don't match deliverables. Derek built his success on shortcuts and charm. And audits don't care about charm. They care about facts. The truth is moving on its own now. I don't have to push it. I just have to wait. Within 3 weeks, cracks appear publicly. A client posts a frustrated review online. Nothing detailed. Just disappointed with the lack of follow-through and communication. Then another. Then another. Derek responds defensively. He blames the clients for changing requirements. He blames vendors for delays. He blames the market for being difficult. His tone shifts from confident to defensive. From polished to desperate. People notice. Former clients who stayed quiet start sharing their experiences privately. A local business forum discusses his company. Not a pile-on. Just questions. Just concerns. Derek posts a long LinkedIn explanation about growing pains and learning experiences. It makes things worse. Because now he sounds like he's making excuses. Meanwhile, I stay completely invisible. I don't comment. I don't share. I don't engage. I just keep working. Keep delivering. Keep building the reputation Derek is busy destroying. Some of his former clients reach out to me. I help them. Quietly. Professionally. Without drama. That's how you win. Not by screaming louder. By working better. At the 1-year mark, Derek announces a rebrand. New name. New logo. New messaging about fresh starts and refined focus. My family celebrates. My mother shares the announcement with 3 heart emojis. My father comments, "Proud of you, son." For a moment, it looks like Derek has escaped. Like he's spun the narrative and won. The audience thinks this might be the false ending where the bad guy gets away with it. Then the audit results leak. Not to me. Not intentionally. But someone at the corporate client's company talks to someone else, and word spreads in small business circles the way it always does. The findings aren't criminal, but they are damning. Misrepresented timelines. Inconsistent billing. Deliverables that don't match contracts. Nothing illegal. Just unprofessional, unreliable, and unethical. The corporate client pulls their contract. It's Derek's biggest account. Worth 40% of his revenue. Within a week, 2 other clients follow. They don't make public statements. They just quietly end the relationship. And Derek's rebrand dies before. The collapse happens without me pushing anything. Contracts dissolve. Partnerships withdraw. Freelancers quit because they're not getting paid. Derek's carefully constructed image crumbles under the weight of his own exaggerations. The same family members who silenced me a year ago now panic. My mother calls, frantic. "Claire, did you hear about Derek? He's having some business troubles. Can you help him?" I almost laugh. Instead, I say calmly, "I'm not involved in Derek's business, Mom." She says, "But you know how this industry works. Maybe you could talk to some of your contacts." I take a breath. "Mom, I tried to tell you the truth a year ago. You chose not to listen. I can't help someone who built their success by destroying mine." She's silent. Then she says, "That's not fair." And I reply, "You're right. It wasn't fair. Goodbye, Mom." I hang up. I don't celebrate Derek's failure. I don't feel victorious. I just feel free. Free from the need to prove anything to people who will never believe me. 2 weeks later, my mother shows up at my apartment. No warning. She looks tired. Older. She asks if we can talk. I let her in. We sit in my living room with tea neither of us drinks. She asks why I didn't warn them. Why I didn't tell them Derek was going to fail. I look at her for a long moment. Then I answer calmly, honestly, without anger. You didn't ask when it mattered. You didn't ask to see my evidence. You didn't ask my side of the story. You chose the version that was easiest for you to believe. I couldn't warn you because you weren't listening. She looks down. I thought we were protecting family unity. I nod. You were protecting comfort. There's a difference. She asks what I want now. I say, nothing. I don't need an apology. I don't need you to fix this. I just need you to understand that I'm not the daughter who needs your approval anymore. It's not cruel. It's just true. She cries. I don't. We sit in silence for a while. Then she leaves. Derek's final humiliation comes not from me, but from his own words. Someone finds old screenshots of his LinkedIn posts where he claimed results that never happened. Metrics that don't match reality. Client wins he never actually secured. It spreads in industry groups. Not viral. Just visible enough. People start connecting dots. The over-promising. The under-delivering. The pattern of blame. Derek tries to defend himself. He posts explanations. He claims misunderstandings. But every explanation makes it worse. Because the more he talks, the more people see what I saw 2 years ago. He's charismatic, confident, and completely untrustworthy. He loses the business. Not dramatically. Just slowly, painfully, inevitably. He's exposed by his own exaggerations. By his own shortcuts. By his own words. I have nothing to do with it. That's the beauty of poetic justice. Sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need to step aside and let consequences happen. The truth doesn't need a villain. It just needs time. 18 months after the conference room collapse, my consulting business is featured in a local business magazine. Not for drama. Not for revenge. For ethics and transparency. They interview me about building client relationships based on honesty and sustainable growth. They ask about my approach to communication. About setting realistic expectations. About delivering results over promises. I don't mention my brother. I don't mention my family. I talk about the work. About the clients. About the lessons I learned from failure and rebuilding. The article runs with a simple headline: Consultant builds business on trust. My phone rings with inquiries. My calendar fills. I hire my first employee. Then my second. I'm not trying to grow fast. I'm trying to grow right. Some former clients come back. They apologize for believing Derek. I accept gracefully.
No gralles.
Just business. Derek, meanwhile, takes a sales job at a mid-size company. He's starting over. My parents eventually apologize. It's awkward. Incomplete. But it's something. I accept it. Not because they've earned it. Because I'm not carrying anger anymore. I'm sitting in my new office on a Wednesday morning, drinking coffee that doesn't taste like failure anymore. I think about the conference room. The trash can in the hallway. The moment my family chose comfort over me. I don't hate them for it. I understand it. People protect what's easy. They believe what's convenient. They choose the story that doesn't require them to question themselves. My family lost something they'll never get back. My unconditional trust. Derek lost everything he built on lies. Me. I gained peace. I gained power. I gained a future built on truth. I didn't win by destroying my brother. I won by outgrowing the lie they all chose to believe. The people who choose comfort over truth don't lose immediately. They lose when reality stops protecting them. And reality always stops eventually. I learned that the hard way. But I learned it completely. And now I'm free.